In our last episode, we took you to the city of Fez, toured the leather tanneries and some of the Medina. Then we made about a 3-hour drive to the capital city of Rabat here in Morocco for some housekeeping. I needed to visit the cardiologist, get a big old refill of my heart medication, ask some questions about malaria as we head farther south. And all of that went really, really well. My testing went good. We were actually able to street camp right outside of the doctor's office and the laboratory. So I was able to do blood work, an echocardiogram, a stress echocardiogram, and have a nice visit with this cardiologist. And I'm happy to report my numbers are all good. Some of them even a little better than last time. So we are happy about that. Then we ate a little tradition Moroccan lunch.
We've been having some good Moroccan food in Rabat, and I should mention the prices are very friendly too.
Yes, yes. Curt had like a swordfish meal yesterday that was huge. That was only what, like $8 or something.
Yeah, $7.50.
Crazy and really good. So then while we were here in the city, we've warned y'all in our previous couple of videos about something we're going to have to deal with as we drive the west coast of Africa, and that is visas. I'm happy to report that we have received our e-visa from Mauritania, which is good because that is the next border we need to cross. But we started working on the one for Guinea, and we are having difficulties on the website. I am able to, with a lot of work and a lot of patience, get all of our documents loaded into their website, into their system, but when it comes time to pay, I'm getting an error message. So they will not start processing that e-visa for us to enter their country until it is paid. While we were here in the city, we decided to swing by the Guinea embassy. How'd that go, Curt?
It did not go. Basically, we talked to a guy through a little window slot, and of course we don't speak French, not his fault, ours. But in any event, we did type it out on translator. He did understand what we were looking for and slid us a piece of paper with the same address that we've already registered and can't pay on. Yeah. And then after us explaining to him, he gave us a phone number to the ambassador, who, oh, by the way, that's the office we were at.
Yeah.
So since we don't speak French, it's probably a waste of time. We'll go on down the road and try to get Guinea, but so far that's our biggest next challenge.
Yeah, as far as visas go. While all of this was happening, we did manage to stop and find a nice place to give the kitty cats a walk because they've been living city life for a couple of days. But now we are southbound, still in Morocco. Let's go. We're not spending a lot of touristy time here in Rabat, but it is an incredibly clean city. Everyone was super polite. It's very modern. People that are curious about how the healthcare was, it was top-notch. The doctor was absolutely amazing. And we're very pleased with this city visit, aren't we, Curt?
Yeah, it's been a really nice, easy place to visit, and but we got rainy season coming, right?
Yeah, we got to keep moving. But I didn't want to forget to tell you that Rabat, if you're coming to Morocco on a vacation, you might fly in and out of here internationally, and it's a really, really cool city.
Look at them.
Yeah, BMW's drifting. This little duster.
As soon as they get just a little past you, they like to drift.
And then they just ride on the skip line.
Yeah, they're drifters. It's the way they drive.
It is.
Told you that. I spotted that right away.
You did. You called that yesterday. Uh-oh. 3 meters. We can't go straight.
They're normal.
We can't go straight.
I see that.
So,
I'll go right here.
Yeah, go right here.
Let's see what it does to me. I don't know.
I think if you go right, it's be okay. Just turn right on this road.
We're about to find out.
Yeah. I mean, I zoomed out, and we should be able to go catch up with our road. right over there, Curdy?
Man, this is intense here in Casablanca, the White House, the famous. And so our plans were really to head to Marrakesh as our next big destination. Well, we were sitting there and this couple from the UK was there and they had just come from Marrakech, and she, the wife, had just had her purse stolen there. So a motorcycle came by, snipped the thing, and took her purse. So they were in Rabat, the capital, trying to get their passports and all their stuff squared away so they could actually get back. They even got their plane tickets. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. We were planning on heading to Marrakech, and then we were like, well, maybe we don't go there. So we decided to head down the coast to Casablanca, right? Casablanca is a famous place, and we thought that'd be cool to see. Big mistake. We were going to ride down the coast. Well, the traffic was brutal. And I think we kind of caught it at rush hour or whatever, but long story short, we learned about the city drivers here in Morocco, and they do something that we named drifting. And so we saw it happen so much, but as you're riding down the road, when they come past you, as soon as they kind of get in front of you, they start to drift over in your lane, almost like to get you to slow down and move over. Now you might think, well, they're just trying to come into the lane. Sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't. But we saw numerous cars doing it, and so a lot of times they just don't even follow the lanes. But it can be a little bit scary, especially when you're kind of sandwiched in the traffic. So it was a nervous, intense drive, and what we thought would be about a little 45-minute commute turned into much more than that. So we found a little camp spot down there, and I've been trying to get some new shoes. For some reason, my shoes got real smelly and I needed to toss them. Well, we went to the mall, and I went to the mall to get new shoes. And the mall was right along the ocean, so I got to walk along there at the Atlantic Ocean. The waves were huge and crashing, and it was really kind of cool. It was a little bit hazy and overcast, but as I got to the mall was pretty cool. I mean, it had like, I don't know, some really cool shapes or whatever, and I got in, and there was some fancy name brands from all over the world in the mall. And as I kind of walked through there, they had this really cool big saltwater aquarium with sharks and all kinds of cool ocean fish, and that was a really neat thing. But unfortunately, they did not have my shoe size. So I'm a size 12 US, 46 I believe, European is the size, 46, 47. And nothing went above like 44 or 45. I found one pair and it just wasn't the right pair that would fit me. So I was asking them, and I guess it's a common thing for them not to have shoes that big. Anyway, this morning we got up after a nice rest and we went to Decathlon and I got some new shoes. So all is well. We are on the road and we are headed to Marrakech. We're probably not going to stop in the city because the race is on. And if you guys know us, when we start to move towards the border of the country, well, we kind of get a little antsy and get ready to go, and that has happened here. So the next country we have to go to is Mauritania, but we have to go through the Sahara Desert, specifically the Western Sahara. So we got a lot of driving to do, a long way to go, and we're going.
So we've gotten off the main road about an hour and a half into our drive before we get to the area around Marrakech, where Curt searched Google Maps and iOverlander looking for somewhere that we would be able to give the kitties a walk. And it's a rural little spot, and there's some trees, and it looks like kind of a little oasis out in the middle of these big red mountains. But y'all keep your fingers crossed that we can walk the kitties out here because they are ready for a walk. Hi, buddy. Was that better than nothing? I think it was a pretty good walk. So Curt scoped out this spot, and it is a place covered with trees and trails, a good place for walking the kitty cats. There were a few stray dogs, but they stayed away, but they scared Vanna a little bit. She seemed to be pretty happy just sitting there looking out her screen door, although she did get a very short walk.
There's a donkey.
Yeah, there's a donkey. How was G's walk?
That was good. He wandered through the woods. He had fun. He's ready to walk some more.
Yeah. So now it's time to get back on the road and head towards the area of Marrakesh. Let's go. Break time's over. Well, in typical Snow and Curt fashion, we have changed our mind and called an audible.
We have a surprise.
We decided we couldn't 100% pass up Marrakesh. We may regret it because as we were pulling in, the city is chaotic. Curt had to do some master maneuvering of the roundabouts, which have no rules. I mean, there's some sort of rules, but they're different at every single roundabout. Now we're squeezing into this tight parking lot, literally in the middle of Marrakesh, a famous tourist city here in Morocco, where they let motorhomes park in the way back of a little skinny parking lot. So now we got to find a place that we can squeeze in, and then we're going to decide exactly what we're going to do here in Marrakesh. I think it might be like a half show. I don't think we'll do the whole thing. After that parking adventure, maybe we shouldn't have come to Marrakesh.
It was a hot mess, and we kind of thought it would be, but we're here.
We're here.
So we're showing it off, and we're going to go see what this little place has to offer.
Well, sometimes the original plan of the day might be the right plan, but we did it. We came here, we tackled this crazy, chaotic parking lot, and we walked across the street to the square by a big giant mosque, which was beautiful. The sun was hitting it just right, through a bunch of street sidewalk vendors, and across the street to the square. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it right now. I'll put it on the screen. But as soon as you get over there, chaos takes over. I mean, it just absolute chaos. Now, what I want to say before we finish describing what happened over there is this is what some people come here for. The hustle, the bustle, the chaos. It is not what we come here for.
It was a little bit shocking and overwhelming.
It was a little bit too much. The market workers and the tourist guides, like the snake charmers and the guys that dress up in traditional form, are very aggressive, very pushy, and I'm just going to say very rude. They demand money. When you give them money, they demand more money. And we're normally pretty good about tipping for pictures and for, you know, people doing their art or whatever. But this place was aggressive, and every store you go by would stalk you down if you didn't come in their store, which we weren't. We were just window shopping. But if you didn't, they're gonna chase you down the very crowded aisles. Where are you from? Come back to my store. Hey you, miss, come back to my store. It was a little much. It was intense. But then we turned the corner and we went down a little alley that maybe most people don't go down. Some people might have considered we were close to lost. But that's when it calmed down and we got to see the architecture and maybe a little bit more of what real Marrakesh is, and not the touristy Medina section that's designed for people that just come to visit that area. So walking through there, seeing the little alleyways, the quiet little riads, which are like bed and breakfast where people stay, little spice shops along that aisle. That part was nice, right, Curt?
Yeah.
So we stopped for some tea. What'd they call it? Beldi tea?
Yeah.
These cute little Moroccan glasses. We've learned we like that tea. And we had 2 little pieces, little appetizer of fried sheep's cheese with like a little Greek yogurty dressing on top. It was really delicious in a peaceful little cafe. So that was a perfect way to end the day. Curt stopped and got some dates, which I'm about to try and see if I like. You've tried them, haven't you, Curt?
I did. They're very good, fresh,
Curt likes
and
dates.
sweet and good.
So the night ended well, but what I want to do for a minute is I want to back up to Fez. When we were in Fez, an episode or 2 ago, we were almost disappointed that we were there on a Friday, which is a holy day here in Morocco, and most things were closed. But what that meant is the Medina was not crowded.
Tranquilo.
And I think we got very lucky in Fez. So pro tip, if you don't like the chaos crowds, but you want to see traditional Moroccan style markets and Medinas, go on a Friday morning, not a Friday afternoon, everything will be closed. But on Friday morning, it's not going to be crowded. It's going to partially be open, and it's a little bit more peaceful. We get asked all the time how we keep Vanna so fluffy. And to be honest, we don't have a choice. When it starts to turn nighttime and we start turning everything into bed mode, this one comes running up, plops down, and demands brushing. It's a nightly routine, and I love it because it sure makes her happy. So we start with the comb to get any knots, because she does get knots. And then we finish her off with a soft brush. And that's her favorite. She really likes that. Good morning from somewhere just outside of the chaotic city of Marrakesh. We got up super early this morning to get on the road to try to get out of the city before the traffic got crazy. And we didn't get out any too soon. But we have filled up with gas. We actually kind of skipped breakfast. Curt had a donut and I had a piece of jelly bread. And that's not normal for us. So that tells you guys how much we wanted to get the heck out of there, right, Curt? Yeah. Today is all about driving south. It's a big drive day. We think we're going through some mountains. And we should start to get into the desert. The goal is to get a little bit south of the coastal city of Agadir. And we've heard from locals that that's where maybe we'll start to see camels and stuff. True desert. Should get there today. But first we have 3.5 hours of driving. We meant to tell you guys yesterday that there is a toll road system here in Morocco. And it seems to connect the larger cities. So we've been on it quite a bit. They're reasonable tolls, nothing like France with their crazy expensive tolls in Italy. But I would say yesterday we drove about 3 hours on toll roads and it probably cost us about $8-ish US. The day before we probably spent about the same going from Fez to Rabat. So it's reasonable. But what's nice about the toll roads is Morocco does a very nice job with their road construction. They're very smooth roads, wide lanes, shoulders, guardrail, nice bridges. And we just went through a little construction zone this morning, and we're on one of the toll roads already today. And their milling and paving operation looked very similar to one we would have had back in the United States, right, Curt?
Yep, they really had a nice setup, to be honest with you, and the roads are really smooth.
Yeah, they do a nice job. So sometimes you pay for an expensive toll road and it's a terrible road. That is not the case in Morocco. These roads are very appreciated, especially by the kitty cats. So I wanted to make sure I gave Morocco props on their good roads.
All right, a couple things we need to cover. First off, Snow is driving for the first time in Africa. Yay, Snow. Now, she does about 10% of the driving. We had that discussion. But she does her share of driving. But so far in Africa, I've been doing the driving. Anyway, we are sort of coming through a rocky desert area. And just off to our left, we've been kind of coming along what is known as the Atlas Mountain Ridge. And as we've kind of come down through here, well, now we're starting to get up in them, and we're headed to a town called Agadir. And that is sort of, these mountain ridge and that city are kind of the break between this sort of rocky desert and sort of the sandy deserts like you think about from the Sahara. Well, through this area, the rocks have started to change colors from what we've seen in northern Morocco to sort of the whites, the tans, all that. We're starting to see a lot more browns and reds in the rocks. Very sparse as it pertains to like trees and stuff like that. But all of a sudden you just look off and you see these little villages pop up, and they're mostly built out of adobe. They take on the same colors as the materials, the rocks around. But it's kind of strange just all of a sudden to look out there and see all these sort of adobe houses and buildings and structures kind of in the middle of nowhere. We're not seeing any wildlife, we're not seeing any sheep, and we're not seeing any camels yet. But it's still kind of a uniquely pretty landscape. And as we come over the mountains, G's chattering at us, even though we just got a break. But we're starting to come into some more trees, and I suspect this is probably going to be our last bit of greenery once we get on a little bit south.
We've stopped off at a rest area for lunch. Curt whipped us up yummy salads. G's been a little grumpy today, but we got pretty lucky because remember, we're out here in the middle of nowhere where stuff doesn't grow. But I looked outside and there was a big wad of grass growing right next to a palm tree. So I pulled it and put it in his little grass cup. He's munching on it. Now he's done, and Vanna has her turn. And a little bit of grass usually calms him down for a little while. So we're going to eat our salads and get back on the road. Now, as we get farther south, these rest areas, which are called airs here in Morocco, probably going to get a little fewer and far, a little bit more distance between them. I think we're headed to where it's not quite so developed. But they're making nice stops for the kitties to have the door open and for us to have a little drive break. So we'll take them while we got them. And wait till y'all see this salad. Long drive days through the mountains are never easy on any of us. And when we're going through the small towns, once we got out of the Atlas Mountains, it's the mental part that comes with driving through these towns and all these roundabouts, which each roundabout seems to have its own set of rules. But we went through what I think was like probably the farming area, because you could look out over the, out beyond the roads of the towns and just see miles and miles of greenhouses. And then we took a turn off of that road and came down a small road winding for maybe 10 miles, and we have ended up right on the Atlantic Ocean. Don't worry, I will show it to you. It's right behind us. Huge crashing waves. We opened up the door for the cats right away. We can hear the waves rolling. We are at a campsite where we will spend the night, and it is called Camping Sidi Wasseh. And it is full of campers. There's probably 100 campers here. But we'll take a little walk around, show you a little bit about the view. But we're gonna rest because tomorrow we start getting really, really deep into the desert. And we will be on the lookout for camels. But I think that's where we're gonna wind this video down. We've driven hundreds of miles south through Morocco so far. And we need a little break. We'll see you guys in a few days. Cheers. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really helps us a lot. And if you want to see more of our videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos come out. We'll see you guys in a few days from somewhere out here in the world. Cheers.